Hello, I'm Jessica, your Up North agent. I'm a licensed realtor in the state of Wisconsin and Minnesota. I'm a real estate investor, and I'm an Up North enthusiast. Today we're going to talk about the 7 steps to buying a cabin. And these 7 steps are the same whether you're buying your first cabin or your 5th cabin. The first step in the process to buy a cabin, which is going to sound cliche, but just hang with me, is to contact a real estate agent. The reason I say that before you quickly click off is because a real estate agent is going to give you the true up-to-date, minute-by-minute information about what's available in the market. If you're like me, you spend hours and hours on all the different type of realestate.com websites that are out there. I, over the years, have so much time on all of those different websites, and really one of the reasons that I'm in real estate now. The problem with some of those is they're not as up-to-date as you need to be in this competitive cabin buying market. There's nothing worse than when clients reach out to me and send me a screenshot or a link from one of those .coms, and they have found the cabin of their dreams and they want to go look at it that same day, come to find out that it's actually been off the market for 2 weeks. And so a licensed realtor is not only going to be able to make sure you have the most accurate, up-to-date information, but also they're going to be able to set up specific searches for you so you can be getting visibility to what it is exactly in the areas that you are looking, on the lakes that you want to be at, with as many bedrooms, the square footage. We can practically set up a query with what color shingles you would want on the roof. So that is going to help you again in a market which is really still, at this point, a seller's market. You need to be quick and ready to go when your dream cabin comes online. So that's going to be your first step. Your realtor is also going to help you with all of the rest of these steps and walking you through these things, but let's go through them right now. The next one after you found your agent is going to be to now set your budget and decide how you want to pay for your cabin. This is going to be important information to know up front, because when it's time to make an offer, we need to be able to move fast, and this is a key component of an offer. So I would suggest going down and on a piece of paper and jotting down how much you would like to spend each month on your cabin, factoring mortgage, factoring principal, interest, factoring utilities and additional costs, even factoring mileage and gas that it's going to cost to get to and fro. Put all those things down on paper so you're really comfortable with what it is that you would like to spend, and then start shopping for lenders to confirm that those numbers make sense for your overall budget. A lender is going to be a key part of this process as well. A lender is going to be able to supply you with a letter that you must have when you're putting in an offer that says this buyer is ready to go and we are willing to supply the necessary funds to be able to make a purchase on this cabin. In this market, a lot of offers are not even being looked at without that piece of paper from a lender that verifies that you have the dollars to pay for that particular cabin. So this is a really important step. Another tip is to don't just go to one lender, shop 3. At a minimum, shop 3. Lenders are in a competitive industry, just like anything else. They can offer you different types of mortgages and loans, different types of perks that are going to go with them. So at minimum, talk to 3 different lenders, even leverage notes against the other. So do some competitive shopping, and know that you don't have to go with that lender just because you have a letter from them at this time. You could change your mind later. So just start those conversations, get that piece of paper. That's your step 2. Step number 3 is going to be thinking about how you want to use this cabin, over the long run. Is this an investment property? At some point you think in the short term you'll sell it and upgrade, much like my family did. Is it something that's going to be long term that you would pass down to children? Do you want this place to be a hub where there's going to be multiple families and friends coming to visit? Or is it something that's more small and quaint just for your family? Might it be a vacation rental or something that you would rent out when you're not using it? And I have a ton of information about short-term rentals if you go to other episodes on my page. So just think through that. Also, are you going to want to use this cabin year-round, or is it just going to be a summer thing for you? When we think about cabins right away, it's usually about the lakes and pontoon and fishing and bonfires. However, knowing up front before you start shopping if you're going to want to use this cabin seasonally and actually winterize in those colder months, or if you're going to want to be using this cabin year-round, very important to know up front. The price is going to be different. A cabin that is a seasonal cabin, meaning again you shut it down in the colder months, is going to cost less than one that is going to be a year-round cabin. So very important as you're shopping to know that information up front and to pay attention to that when you see those listings pop up. And just again, if the reason that it wouldn't be a year-round cabin is because it's not built to be year-round. It's not set up that way. It's not insulated that way. A seasonal cabin can be converted. It's costly, yada, yada. But again, something to think about up front. How are you going to be using that cabin? Who's going to be using that cabin? The next thing is to consider is then the amenities in which you need to accommodate however it is that you're going to be using this cabin. Meaning, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, are you going to need really big family spaces? Are you going to be able to need to seat 8 people at a dining table? Is outdoor space really important to you? Do you need enough land where friends with campers can come up and stay? Camper sales are up about 400% year on year. A lot of people are traveling around in campers. Does the amount of lakeshore matter to you? Is that an important amenity? These are all things to think about. What's the style of the cabin that you would prefer? Are you into A-frames or chalet styles? Do you need all one level living? All things to consider. Do you need a separate space for your guests or for children? Or would you like to have a space where adults can be hanging out and kids can be in a whole different space? Start to jot these things down because that's going to help you create that list of the things that you must have versus the things that you would like to have. One amenity that is an important thing to consider when buying a cabin is how many steps or lack thereof from your kitchen down to the lake itself. A lot of people, of course, would love to say, I want to be standing in my kitchen and I want to be prepping for dinner while the kids are out and they are waiting in the beach area. That's difficult to find in Minnesota and Wisconsin without getting too far up north if clear water is going to be really important to you. We have a lot of topography to get that clean water when we get closer to the cities. So you may have 5 or 10 or 50 or in my case 90 steps down to the lake. And how important is that to you? If you want that flat property that's going to walk out right to the water, you're just going to have to factor that into your budget. And if that's a hill to die on for you, you may have to sacrifice some of those other amenities in which you want. So making the list, the blue sky list of all of those amenities, and then putting them in the 2 different categories of must have, need to have, so it can support how you want to use this cabin, that's your next step. After that, you're going to want to look at areas and lakes. Which areas of Minnesota and Wisconsin would you like to be in? Which lakes would you like to be on? Each small town in the up north Wisconsin and Minnesota area have different features. Some of them are really big into tourism, and there's going to be tons of events that are going on throughout the year. Others are not so much. They're actually true communities with, a lot of people that live there year round and really not as into tourism, but they still have lakes, so therefore cabins. So take a look at all the different small towns that you may be interested in and check out their websites, check out the chambers to see what it is that they're offering. We have so many great small towns, Webster, Wisconsin, and Spooner, and Siren, and Chautauqua, and Rice Lake, and Turtle Lake, and Cumberland, and Barron, and Baronet, and just to name a few off the top of my head. And they are all so uniquely different. I will be doing more and more videos about the different nuances of those different communities. But in the meantime, just shop around and what appeals to you. Do you need a lot of bars? Do you need a lot of restaurants? Do you need a lot of events? Or are you trying to get away and a small grocery store and a gas station would be enough for you and your guests? So just something to consider. On the lakes, that is going to dictate price big time. Another really hard thing to talk with clients about is they want super clean lakes. They want it really deep for fishing. They want beautiful shoreline. They would love to have a restaurant that's right on the lake. And all of those things are amazing and come with a price. So if you have a budget that warrants all of those great things, that's totally fabulous. And there is lots of those types of lakes here in Minnesota and Wisconsin. If budget is a concern for you, then you'll have to give and take a little bit. The lake might not quite be as large as you would have initially wanted it to be. Maybe it's not as deep. Maybe the clarity isn't there. The shoreline isn't there. Something else to consider. So what are the 10 lakes that you would love to be on? Make sure that your real estate agent knows that information. And again, that you know that information, a little bit about those lakes before you start shopping. The next thing, of course, is that you have to set expectations. This is the tough one. We absolutely, when we want something, we want it now. And the pandemic has really taught us a lesson in patience. I waited 4 months to get a dishwasher and went through the entire holiday season with a broken one because of supply and demand. Right now, we're not seeing as many listings that we have historically, and the inventory is not supporting how many people want to buy cabins. More and more people want to buy cabins, less and less people are selling cabins. The inventory isn't there. So know that once you have all of these other things in line and you're ready to go, that you will find that dream cabin, but you do just need to set expectations that you need to be patient, especially if we're going to get you all of those things on that must-have list. The last thing, very important, is be ready to move and move quickly when your dream cabin becomes active on the MLS. Your agent, again, is hopefully going to be able to get ahead of the listing actually becoming active, and you'll be able to plan travel schedules to get up north to check out these cabins when they're in coming soon mode. That's not always the case. Sometimes they go straight to active, but it is so critically important that you have that letter that says you've got the funds in hand, you've got your agent lined up, and you're not just starting to shop for one at that point. You know those amenities, you know those lakes, you know the towns that you want to be in, how you're going to use that cabin. So when you see it come up, you're ready to go. I was so sad that we lost a dream cabin with one of my clients who were not able to come and check out the cabin until days after it went live. And I'm telling you, in this market, we don't have time for that. So if you're serious and you have all of those other boxes checked and you're ready to go, the cabin comes live, it is time to move and to move quickly. I hope that those steps helped you. I would love to hear from you in the comments if you have anything to add to that. If you'd like more help or have specific questions, reach out to me. You can find me in the show notes. I would love to help you with anything buying and selling real estate. Otherwise, I will see you in the next episode.